As Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits the historic Prambanan Temple in Indonesia, the visit is far more than a ceremonial stop. It is a reaffirmation of India's civilizational connect with Southeast Asia and a powerful demonstration of New Delhi's cultural diplomacy. Over the past decade, India has increasingly used its shared heritage to deepen strategic partnerships, restore ancient monuments, and strengthen people-to-people ties across Asia and beyond. From the temples of Bangladesh to the ancient Hindu complexes of Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and Sri Lanka, India has steadily invested in preserving monuments that reflect a shared civilizational past. Through Archaeological Survey of India and government-backed grants, New Delhi has restored temples, pagodas, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, projecting India's soft power far beyond its borders. India's foreign policy today is not driven by economies and security alone. Cultural diplomacy has emerged as a strategic instrument by restoring temples and heritage sites linked to Sanatan traditions, Buddhism and shared Asian history. India is reinforcing centuries-old civilizational bonds while expanding its influence across Indo-Pacific and Gulf. Prambanan stands as one of the world's greatest Hindu temple complexes outside India. Prime Minister Modi's visit underscores a broader message that India's civilizational legacy transcends modern borders. Over the last decade, New Delhi has positioned itself as a custodian of shared heritage, helping preserve iconic temples, monuments across Asia, while building diplomatic goodwill rooted in history rather than geopolitics alone. And
आकर के करीब करीब 1000-1200 साल पुराना ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश इन यादों को साथ जुड़ी हुई एक हमारी सांस्कृतिक विरासत का पुनरुद्धार और उसका रिनोवेशन का काम उसका प्रारंभ करने का सौभाग्य भी मुझे मिला। मैं अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा भाग्यशाली मानता हूं। मेरे लिए बहुत सुखद अनुभव रहा। मेरी यात्रा का आज तीसरा दिवस है, लेकिन यहाँ के जीवन में, यहाँ की बातों में, यहाँ की हवा में एक संस्कृति की खुशबू है। वो खुशबू जो हम भारत की धरती पर पल पल अनुभव करते हैं। ये खुशबू हमारी सांस्कृतिक विरासत ये अपने आप में अपनत्व से जोड़ती है।
On this issue, I am joined by Ambassador Veena Sikri and Dr. Jain Dasgupta, former Indian diplomat. I'll be joined by Mukesh Chuni, former Minister of Culture from Mauritius. Thank you both of you first. I'll start with Ambassador Veena Sikri. Madam, I do understand that is there an alternative to hard diplomacy? Does soft diplomacy work? I do understand that in ancient times, even the names of the countries and the seas of the Southeast Asia had very civilizational connect with India. The Sea of Champa, I can just go on. Even the Angkor Wat is supposed to be the capital of Lord Vishnu. So, there is a civilizational imprint in terms of names, the people they use. It's just that the religion has changed. But has it worked to strengthen our ties in last 60, 70 years? If I may keep the specific example of Malaysia and Indonesia, ma'am.
I think the power of soft power diplomacy, the power of cultural diplomacy is immense, and it is an adjunct to hard power. And you cannot have one substituting for the other, but I can certainly say that hard power is incomplete without the exercise of complete cultural diplomacy, because cultural diplomacy targets the people of that country. And the objective of cultural diplomacy is to win over the people on the basis of actual connectivities relating to history, relating to civilization, relating to so many other aspects of connectivity. And with Indonesia, let us look at Prambanan complex, where Honorable Prime Minister is right now. This is perhaps the most complete complex of Hindu temples in the world. Even in India, in one site, you do not have Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Mahesh, their temples dedicated to them in one site like this. And India is now going to help to restore this site. And do you know, at Prambanan, I visited it personally, every day in the evening, even today, the Ramayana is performed. and it's performed by Indonesians. Most of them are Muslims, but they give their life for this culture. I remember years ago when I was DG ICCR and we invited a Ramayan troupe from Indonesia. And when the leader came, he had a Muslim name, but I said, do you need any help from us? He said, I would like the trunk of a banana tree. And in the evening when I went for the performance, I saw that he was performing puja with the trunk of the banana tree. And I asked him, he said, yes, I am a devout Muslim. I pray 5 times a day, but this is my culture. And if I forget my culture, I am nobody. So this is the value of cultural diplomacy, to remind people of connectivities which reinforce the present. And the leadership of Indonesia is very clear on this. When I went on a cultural diplomacy visit in 2016, I wrote a report on this. The DG of the Culture Ministry said that we want our youngsters to remember their pre-Islamic past. It is a strong antidote against radicalization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this conversation has two parts. You know, the spread of Indian culture, which is pre-colonial, and there's also which happened during the colonial times. I'm also happen to be joined by Mukesh Chuni, former Minister of Culture in Mauritius. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on such a short notice. Let me take opening comments from Ambassador Das Gupta. Thank you, sir, for again joining me on short notice. Your comments on this consistent effort by Prime Minister Modi in stressing cultural ties, specifically in Southeast Asia?
Well, I'll not focus on the Southeast Asian countries because, see, Modi ji has done something great for the Indian diaspora. Let's be clear. He has classified the Indian diaspora not just as migrants, but messengers of timeless civilization. So wherever we have been, whether it is Southeast Asia, where he's doing very well, we have many resource persons who know very much how all it is happening in Southeast Asia. But my focus will be more on the Indian diaspora and the Girmitia countries. I hope you know what we mean by the Girmitia.
I know that. You know, that question was for Ambassador Das Gupta. You chose to speak, so you're welcome. Ambassador Das Gupta, then I'll come to you, sir. Ambassador Das Gupta.
Yes, please.
No, I entirely agree with Ambassador Veena Seetu that this is something which needs to be strengthened. The person-to-person contacts, the civilizational ties which go back more than 1,000 years. In the case of Indonesia, for instance, Laos, Cambodia, and of course, Mauritius, as the minister was mentioning, the Girmitia, which is a corrupted version of an agreement. Agreement and Girmit, so it came to Girmitia. The Girmitias were indentured labor who were taken all the way to Mauritius, South Africa, West Indies, and other places. And India has, in fact, established Hindi teaching through the missions there in different countries. The propagation of the message of the Gita and the Upanishads, various things had been taking place. In fact, the Angkor Wat temple restoration took place. The first steps were taken more than 30 years ago by India. And it is such a massive complex that, again, now I think $10 million have been promised. So this is of a piece. And if I may just mention, there is this triangle between Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, where Priya Vihar is a temple which also dates back to about 1,000 years ago. And there is a dispute on the boundary between the Cambodians and the Vietnamese about who actually owns the temple. The people there, they revere the deities there. They go from both sides to offer obeisance to the deities and to offer their prayers. The influence in Prambanan is, of course, it has been brought to a sharp focus by the Prime Minister's visit there and his promise to provide assistance, support for the restoration.
And there's also a side story. Last time I was in Jakarta, he was supposed to go to this temple complex. Somehow the itinerary could not accommodate that movement. A lot of reporters had gone there. I had chosen to stay in Jakarta. And now this time he went, he ensured that he was there. So, he wanted to be there, I think 2018 or maybe 17 when the last time he was there. But let me go across to Minister Shunisa. How do you look at this civilizational, cultural Indian footprint in context of Bharat?
Well, that's very true that Modi ji has revived the cultural ties between India and all the diaspora. And my focus, as I said, will be mostly on the Girmitia countries.
Yes.
Now, when I talk of the Girmitia countries, our civilization is not millennial. Our civilization is just very young compared to the millennial countries you have been referring to. Our civilization is hardly 200 years old. As you said earlier, it's a contract signed between us, indentured laborers, and the colonizers. So our civilization, though it is only 200 years old at most, like in the case of Mauritius, it's about 200 years old. In the case of Suriname, Trinidad, Tobago, Fiji, and Guyana, and the French-speaking countries, it can be less. But when we talk of Mauritius, here I would like to put on record what all Prime Minister Modi ji has said, has done, and is willing to do again to promote, to consolidate further our relations. So I'll say that Modi ji has mentioned about we being playing what we call the vital role of maintaining cultural vibrancy. We happen to have a legacy which focuses on so many things, right? And he is ready to what we call go ahead with a comprehensive database, university chairs, films, and World Girmitia Conference to document the journey of the Girmitias, which means there is a revival. There is a strengthening of all that is concerned with the Indian diaspora and India. So what are the initiatives he pushed? He pushed initiatives like first, finding our roots, looking for the villages from where we came. Some of the villages have disappeared, right? So he is willing to help us in identifying, finding a database for the villages we came from, the destinations and the stories of the Girmitias. Second, as you are aware, he has undertaken to have the platform, the PBD, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas platform, which is now being held every 2 years, where we have a unique part of Indian heritage that is highlighted. And it is a celebration of the diaspora's success stories. So this is, again, something that is new. Through Modi ji's, the impulse, the impetus, the force with which he drives it is really very much appreciated by the Girmitias. I just heard Madame saying about, I cannot read, the former diplomat, sorry.
Ambassador Veena
talking
Sikri.
about the culture.
Ambassador Veena Sikri.
Yes, sir. Yeah, about cultural diplomacy. Of course, for us, we just celebrated the International Yoga Day. So we have Yoga Day, Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, traditions, Ayurveda, festivals to show that India is unstoppable with its 1.4 billion people with so many aspirations. Further, at the level of the Girmitia countries, we have been preserving the language, the education. Okay. We have been supporting all the languages that we inherited, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Hindi, Bhojpuri, Urdu, whatever you call, whatever we brought from India, we have preserved and we have consolidated.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. So this is where we are. Later, I can take over for what all has happened in Mauritius.